Sally felt sheer terror as she took off running towards John's bunk. "John, help!" she shouted as she ran. Hastily she busted through the door into the dark bunk as John sprang to his feet, flicking on the light. Sally could feel cold sweat streaming down her face as she made eye contact with John. "Mark is gone," she shouted frantically. John gasped. "Where? How? What's going on?" Sally pointed out the window towards the fire pit and John rushed out the door into the night with Sally close behind him. They reached where Mark was laying and John could not believe his eyes. "Who did this?" With hesitation in her voice, Sally whispered, "Jeffrey." For a brief moment John's eyes bore a vacant expression as he studied Sally's face, then John stood up and looked back to the kids' bunkers. "Have you checked on the children? Is anyone else injured or worse?" Sally's face sparked a look of complete horror as she muttered, "No. I was asleep when something woke me up." John turned toward the kids' bunker, but before he could take a step, Sally called out, "Wait." "T.S. Jeffrey." John looked at Sally and back towards the children's bunks. Sally could see him standing there, smiling. As John started to turn his head back to look at Sally again, he was hit in the head with a smoldering log. Embers danced across the night sky as Sally struck him repeatedly, the embers on the log turning to smoke against the blood that followed. With a wicked grin, Sally looked and she knew John would not be getting back to his feet. She turned to the fire pit and grabbed another log fresh with embers and set off to the children's bunk. With an intense look, she smiled and smiled as she rolled the burning log around under the bunk, bringing flames to dry leaves and sticks. Little Jeffrey was standing behind her, smiling and laughing as the bunk went up in flames, piercing the night sky with a red glow and the screams of all who were trapped inside. Sally walked from the camp, the fires growing out of control, to the trees around her. She found a small muddy patch in a clearing of trees and lay down. "Don't worry, it will all be over soon," she whispered as the flames spread around her. The flames soon engulfed the underbrush around Sally, burning away at everything. Sally rubbed her hand across a small stone marker in the dirt. The name Jeffrey was chiseled into the stone.